Hey everyone, today's lesson is lesson 119 and it's dividing by a decimal number. So it's a really nice and short lesson, but has a really important concept. So although this sounds really similar to the lesson that we just did previously, lesson 117/118, dividing by a decimal number means now our divisor is a decimal number. Previously, our dividend, the number inside the box, was a decimal number, and that was pretty easy to navigate. All we had to do was move our decimal straight up, and now we're exploring something different. With our divisor on the outside of the box being a decimal number, how do you do that? So it's really quite simple. So I'm going to go through exactly what to do. We really only have one example to do together, but we'll just start with here. Our learning target for today is dividing by a decimal number. And I should just say too, this is really awesome that we're touching on this in fifth grade. It's a fifth grade standard, but also carries up into sixth grade. You will do a lot of this work in sixth grade, kind of towards the beginning of the year. So it's really great that we're taking the time to look at this now. I'm going to be honest, this is a page of notes, and I don't love them. I think they just can get a little confusing. I prefer to just talk through this process myself without all of these visuals. This page of notes though will be attached in Google Classroom, so they'll be there for you to view. I'm just not going to spend time on my video going over them because I'll talk through everything I need to tell you about how to do this. So, like I said, we just have one example today, and here it is. So it just says to divide. We have 2 and 34 hundredths divided by 6 tenths. So what we're going to do, first of all, I'm going to get my pen ready. What we're going to do in this situation is before we can actually do any dividing, our divisor must be changed, and so that it's not a decimal number anymore. We need to move our decimal to the end in order to create a whole number, because we actually don't do any dividing like this unless we have a whole number divisor. So in order to make 6 tenths a whole number, we need to move our decimal to the end. So in this case, our decimal needs to be moved one time, bumped one time, or shifted one time to the end. And whatever I do to my divisor, I must do to my dividend. So whatever I do to the outside, I must do to the inside of the box. If I move it one place, I will move my decimal one place on the inside. So here we go. Now, some of you are okay with just starting the work on this problem just like this. Just for those of you who need a little bit clearer of a visual, I'm going to rewrite this problem without the extras. So now that I've moved my decimal to the end for my divisor, I'm actually just going to rewrite my divisor as 6. Nothing else. I don't need the 0 there because with moving my decimal to the end, now this is just a whole number of 6. Here's my box, and now I have moved my decimal over 1. It's no longer 2 and 34 hundredths. Now we have 23 and 4 tenths. Do you see how that decimal moved one space? Okay. So at this point, I didn't mention this a moment ago, but I do highly encourage all of you to be pausing these videos so that you're trying these examples independently. That's really, really important, you guys, that you're still continuing to challenge yourself. You're still doing the work. I mean, I've used this example a lot, but like with me running right now, I'm not going to just go ahead and be able to run a 5K without putting in any work. So you've got to do this work so that you don't... if you don't use it, you're going to lose it. You've got to be able to be exercising your brain and challenging yourself. So I'm hoping that you're really challenging yourself and doing these problems, and then unpausing the video when you're ready to watch me solve. So now when we're looking at this is a division problem, just like the ones that we did the other day. Our dividend, the number inside the box, has a decimal, and our divisor does not. So the first step in doing any type of dividing problem where our dividend has a decimal is just to bring your decimal straight up. So here we go. Come on. I've mentioned this earlier, but with using the stylus pen and the touch screen, it's really hard for me to do a decimal point. So I apologize. My decimal points right now look like little lines, but that's all I can do with this thing. So now I'm just going to divide like normal. So can 6 go into 2? No. Make sure you're filling those with zeros. Can 6 go into 23? Yes, and that is 3. I don't know if that turned out. It didn't. Let's try again. There we go. 6 times 3 is 18. 23 minus 18 is 5. And even though I have a decimal there, I'm ignoring it. I've already brought it up into my answer, and I'm just looking ahead at the 4 now. I have another space to fill here. I need to bring my 4 down. Can 6 go into 54? Yes. 9 times. 9 times 6 is 54. And we've arrived at 0. So just like any other decimal problem, we are not done until we reach 0 on the bottom. And we've done that right here. So we've reached 0 on the bottom, we're done. But let's just take a look at our answer really quick and ask ourselves, is this the most simplified form I can provide my answer? The most advanced, the clearest way I can deliver my answer? 03.9. Or 0.3 and 9/10. We can rewrite that and get rid of some of the clutter by saying this. Come on. Don't need that 0 in front. If we already have a 3 holding a place in front of the decimal, you don't also need your 0 anymore. Cut that off. That's just extra stuff off the end. Okay, so we have 3 and 9/10. I'm only going to go through one example with you today. The same skill applies to all of these problems. All you have to do is bump your decimal to the end. However many times you bump your decimal for your divisor on the outside, you do the same to your dividend inside the box. So if you need any further clarification, go ahead and replay parts of this video. Otherwise, of course, I'm going to attach the notes right here in Google Classroom. That's where you can find your homework as well. Thanks so much and have a great day.